formally inaugurated the newly upgraded General Muhammad Buhari Airport, Maiduguri. And then to the Central Mosque, Maiduguri, for the solemnization of Sadiq Sharif, son of Senator Ali Modu Sharif, and Adiza Kam Salem.
Have the hand of Adiza.
President Tinubu represented the groom's family, while Governor Zulum stood for the bride's family. From Maiduguri, Musbao and Wahab, NT News.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has renamed the Federal University of Health Sciences Azari after late Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi. President Tinubu was in Bauchi on a condolence visit to the government, family and followers of the late religious leader who passed away November 27 this year. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, and Governor Mai Malabuni of Yobe State were among the entourage of the president on the visit at the Sheikh Tahiru Islamic Center. President Tinubu described the late renowned Muslim cleric and leader of the Tijaniya Muslim Brotherhood in Nigeria as a patriotic Nigerian during his lifetime.
The late Sheikh brought knowledge, impactful knowledge to the people, a great scholar, a Nigerian conscience that had worked so hard on the path of Almighty Allah, preaching the word, the sermon, the knowledge, and the value of honesty, integrity, and a great character. He has been kind to every member, direct or indirect member of the family. He loved the country, Nigeria.
Then pronounces a change of name to immortalize the late Sheikh.
From Federal University of Medical Sciences, Azari, Bauchi, we from today be known as Sheikh Dahiru Usman Bauchi University.
Your Excellency, we are really grateful. We are really delighted by this visit. You had to come yourself, show the kind of affinity and respect you have for Maulana Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi, the family and all of us. And I'm happy the APC family has not really let us down, because from the airport coming down, you have seen the tumultuous crowd.
Before now, the president had earlier deployed a delegation led by his deputy Vice President Kashim Shettima to attend the third-day prayer for the deceased. And let's also inform you that President Bola Tinubu has arrived in Lagos for the end-of-the-year holidays. The 001 presidential airplane landed in Lagos at approximately 7:45 this Saturday evening after his visits to Maiduguri and Bauchi. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu led the delegation to welcome the president home. An earlier statement by the presidential advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, revealed that the president is expected to be the guest of honor at the Eyo Festival scheduled for December 27 among his numerous engagements while in the city. The festival at Tafawa Balewa Square will honor prominent figures, including President Tinubu's mother, Alhaja Abibatu Mogaji, and former governors Alhaji Lateef Jakonde and Chief Michael Otedola. Let's flip to other issues. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says the All Progressives Congress support groups are an integral part of the Renewed Hope agenda and urged members to spread the goal and benefit of the 2026 budget of consolidation, renewed resilience and shared prosperity. While addressing party members at a dinner in Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Bwanara reports.
It is second half of the first tenure mandate of the current administration, and the renewed hope team players seem more united and ready ahead of their future political encounter. The government spokesman has been adopted here as a captain as they unveil their political agenda.
Thank you, sir. We recognize the necessity of reform President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has initiated. We affirm our support for these reforms: the subsidy removal, the harmonization of foreign exchange rates.
This party was built on the back of support groups like yours. It was built on the strength, networking, sleepless nights, and logistic nightmares you've had to endure.
We have not seen so many faces for a very long time. You brought us together. We are seeing each other. We appreciate each other. Please clap for him, clap for him, clap for him, clap for him. Thank you very much, Mr. Minister.
Beyond being election time mobilizers, the minister described the APC support groups as strategic partners in defending facts and propagating government policies to the public, particularly its renewed commitment in security, economy, infrastructure, revenue mobilization to other tiers of government, and youth empowerment.
The president himself had a projection. He said he wants to bring down inflation to about 15%. Today, inflation is lower, which means the president has beaten his own record on inflation. The president has beaten his own record on GDP. Let us remain focused, let us remain united, and let us also remain resolute as we work with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to build a stronger, more prosperous, and more secure Nigeria that all of us need for the prosperity that he has promised us when he took office.
He assured that the renewed hope government under President Bola Tinubu remained focused on delivering effective services and building a secure Nigeria. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
The Nigerian Customs Service has intercepted 20 diverted transit containers valued at more than 700 million naira within the Kano-Jigawa Area Command. Between the second and fourth quarters of 2025, Awal Salisu will tell us more.
The seizures were recorded as part of the Kano Area Command's intensified enforcement operations aimed at curbing cargo diversion, a practice it described as a serious violation of the Nigerian Customs Service Act 2023. The intercepted items include medical consumables, used clothing, diesel engine oil, and other contraband.
The service is currently at the final stage of rolling out a comprehensive electronic tracking system. These devices have already been successfully tested and validated across the southwestern and northwestern axis of the country, demonstrating remarkable efficacy in real-time cargo monitoring and route verification.
He explained that these measures are designed to promote legitimate commerce, enhance non-oil exports, and strengthen Nigeria's competitiveness in the global trading system. In Kano, Awal Salisu, NTA News.
On health, we hear Nigeria and US have signed a memorandum of understanding to deepen cooperation in health and strengthen health security and resilience. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pati, explained that the MOU provides a 5-year technical framework to guide US grant support to Nigeria's health sector, while supporting the country's transition towards increased domestic financing and reduced dependence on external aid.
Of this memorandum of understanding between the United States and Nigeria, it is the latest step in what is our ongoing shared commitment to advancing the health and well-being of citizens within our respective countries.
We need to close on the memorandum of understanding to be signed between the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the government of the United States of America to deepen our cooperation in health, to strengthen health security and resilience. And this is one more milestone in a journey that started several months ago.
This support rolls back and our own reliance on our domestic resources, our own savings, our own mobilization of funds kicks in and takes its place. And I think that's a very positive and sustainable basis.
Agreement will strengthen disease surveillance, outbreak preparedness and response, public health, security, and service delivery across the country, in line with Nigeria's national priorities and the health sector renewal investment initiative of President Bola Tinubu. For its 15 years of excellence in media planning, buying, and strategic solutions driven by creativity and innovation. Building on this milestone, the media agency is transitioning from a regional force to a pan-African player in the media agency ecosystem. The anniversary held in Lagos was a platform to also honor the contributions of staff, clients, and all who were part of the success story. Amaka Owo reports.
PHT has over the years maintained a growth trajectory and is ranked high in the integrated marketing communications space. The company says they deliver value, build brands, and aid in identifying target audience.
Last year we closed with about 36 billion naira in billings. We've grown our client base from about 1 or 2 clients to well over 20 clients now. We have a client retention of well over 80%, staff retention of well over 80%, and that for me is where real growth lies.
I dare say we are among the top 3 agencies in Nigeria, if not amongst the top 2, and we have recently been awarded the Media Agency of the Year in 2025.
The media agency says they deploy strategic thinking and deliver software that provides greater value, using different tools strengthened by confidence and strategic workflow.
At PhD, data is very key to us. Insight is also what we draw out of data as well. And these are elements we put into our thinking to address brand's problem and client problem as well.
As a region, we operate in dynamic markets that demand both strategic clarity and operational excellence.
The 15th anniversary of the brand also had a panel of discussants who'd x-rayed the success story of the company. There was recognition and presentation of awards to deserving partners, clients, and staff.
A beautiful journey, if you ask me. It was one of transparency, visionary leadership, innovation, and we continue to embrace change.
We go beyond data and ensure that the insights that we provide for our clients actually impact their business.
When we started with them, one thing that stood out was professionalism.
The future of PHT is to become a Pan-African player in the media agency space in the nearest future. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
His Royal Highness King Apollos II has clocked 20 years on the throne since he was crowned the Igbere Emir Okori Eleme before becoming that's on the throne, actually. Now, for many, his reign was defined by confidence in his kingdom and beyond, particularly his philanthropic gestures and pursuit for development and unity of Nigeria. Ijoma Ngweke reports.
It has been 2 decades since His Royal Highness King Apollos II was unanimously chosen and crowned the Igbere Emir Okori before ascending the throne of Onenchia X of Eleme Kingdom. His reign has witnessed community development, human capital growth, and promotion of culture and tradition of Eleme Kingdom, which earned him the highest yam title holder known as Achuete and Ambassador of Eleme Tradition.
The Holy Spirit. Amen. Well, today I stand here to confirm and to confer on Chief Apollos II, the Ambassador of Eleme Tradition.
Celebrating the achievements since his coronation, dignitaries from all walks of life gathered at the King's Court to share in the joy of the memorable day.
He is one of the pillars of Eleme Kingdom.
We, the Plateau people, we're here to celebrate him, to appreciate him for how he has impacted not only the Eleme people, but also us, the Plateau people in Rivers State.
There was the official unveiling of the statue of the celebrant by the children.
Wonderful thing to be alive and see your children demonstrate this kind of gesture in the honor of me. You can always say something about you positively based on their contribution and your impact to the community and society.
For the people of Eleme, the day remains significant as there are hopes for better days as King Apollos II continues to reign in wisdom and strength, promoting peace and unity in the kingdom. From Eleme, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
Borno State has emerged overall winner in the male category of the 2025 National Quranic Recitation Competition as the state successfully hosted the 40th edition of the annual event in Maiduguri. Fatima Isa reports.
Allahu Ahad, Allahu Samad, Lam Yalid wa Lam Yulad.
The week-long competition tagged Borno 2025 brought together 296 contestants from the 34 states of the Federation who completed in 6 categories of the Quranic recitation. Announcing the result, the Director, Center for Islamic Studies, Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, Professor Abubakar Yelwa, declared Musa Ahmad Musa of Borno State as the overall male champion, while Hafsat Muhammad Sadaf from Kano State emerged overall winner in the female category. Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum described the successful hosting of the national competition as a strong signal of the return of peace, stability, and normalcy in the state.
You have brought immense honor to your families, your state, and the entire Muslim Ummah. May Allah grant you steadfastness and make you worthy custodians of this divine trust.
One of the things that is so dear to us as Muslims, we encourage the recitation of the Holy Quran and also to support it in whatever capacity we can.
Dignitaries congratulated the winner and commended all participants for their discipline, dedication, and reverence for the Holy Quran, describing every contestant as a winner in the noble pursuit of knowledge.
This 40th annual Quranic competition will certainly go down in history, not only in Borno State, but the world at large. In Maiduguri, Fatima Isa, NTA.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll begin our conversation on critical decisions that defined 2025. Do stay tuned. Thank you for choosing this dial. The decisions taken on public service reforms and social interventions went beyond paperwork. They shaped public perception of leadership, institutional strength, and the relationship between government and citizens in 2025. Now, the public sector reforms became a focal point as government institutions pursued efficiency, transparency, and accountability as tools for rebuilding trust. Let's hear from Hamman Jabani.
Public service reforms is about building systems that work for the people, anchored on integrity, professionalism, and accountability. From digital transformation and paperless processes to performance management and ethics enforcement, the federal government has positioned reforms as the pathway to strengthen confidence in government operations. Institutional coordinations also remain central to reforms implementation, with policies translated into tangible outcomes.
That public sector reform is a task that should not be left to the current administrative leadership in the saddle alone. It requires intergenerational collaboration. In other words, the experience of former administrators must actively inform present and future governance.
I think the reforms have been very transformative. The public has more confidence in the service. People trust us more. People believe that when we say something, we will deliver. I think that it has been very good.
We are tracking how contracts are awarded, how funds are channeled, and how we Nigerians will get value for whatever contract that is awarded by ensuring that money that is meant for such contract, they are truly deployed. They are truly used for those contracts.
Some of these initiatives include promoting transparency
accountability, and performance-based service delivery across public institutions. Acting as a bridge between citizens, including NGOs, civil society groups, community groups, government institutions, enabling inclusive participation across social, religious, and economic divides.
In 2025, reforms lay important foundations for institutional renewal. Public trust continues to depend on consistency, inclusion, and visible results that touch everyday lives. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
Nigeria's economy in 2025 was shaped by significant policy adjustments aimed at strengthening revenue and restoring market confidence amid growing concerns over the rising cost of living. Musa Abubakar reports.
2025 was a year of tough economic choices as government pursued reforms to stabilize public finances and attract investment. Nigerians face rising living costs and shrinking purchasing power. With revenue under pressure and debt service taking over 35% of federal revenue, government tightened spending.
In the first quarter, the economy grew at about 3.4% and 3.5, let's say. But that is really half of the target. In order to really help people at all levels in the society, particularly the poorest and most vulnerable, we need to be growing at around 7% per annum, and that is the target of the administration.
The central bank kept interest rates above 25% for most of the year to curb inflation and stabilize the naira. While this improved market confidence, it also raised borrowing costs for businesses and households.
Now we have moved from a situation where there is stability, and after stability comes investment, and after investment comes growth. And by the way, investment and growth could go hand in hand.
Fuel subsidy removal reshaped daily life. Petrol prices rose by over 200%, pushing transport fares up by more than 50% in major cities. Electricity tariff adjustments increased household energy spending by about 30%. However, non-oil revenue strengthened, accounting for over 40% of federally collected revenue, easing reliance on oil. Inflation remained elevated, averaging above 15% for most of the year, driven largely by food prices. Government insists the sacrifices of 2025 are laying the groundwork for stability, narrowing deficits, improving transparency, and restoring investor confidence. In Abuja, Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
All right, let's bring in our guests. We have Dr. Emeka Okengo. He's a development economist and a public affairs analyst. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Okengo.
Invitation. I'm glad to be here.
Great to have you. So let's pick up from the economy, going by what you've assessed, the GDP from the first to the fourth quarter, and the easing off we're seeing in the inflation rate, 14.45% thereabout. That was in November. But from your assessment, the policies, we had the CBN governor talking about stability in some of the reforms. What are your thoughts?
It's a good way to start. I mean, let's pick stability from the CBN governor, and let's pick the 3.5% from the Minister of Finance. These two things should form the plank of whatever analysis overview that we're going to be making moving forward. When the Finance Minister mentioned the 3.5%, he also did say that we needed to be growing at 7% to be able to sustainably help, the most vulnerable amongst us. And those numbers are growing by the day, we must agree. But then we now bring it to the stability that the CBN governor mentioned. He also didn't stop at that. He says that stability will now bring investment and growth. So taking this together, we might also need to step back a little bit to look at where we're coming from. This is an administration that is 2 years old. We've had global headwinds. We had issues that had to do with the COVID-19. We had the crisis in the Suez Canal. We had the Ukrainian wars. what all sorts that's been thrown at the global economy, and this has had, some destabilizing effect. So it might not be very fair to take one tire and then be able to now start marking if it's done very well or not. But what is important is that the Nigerian economy has been very resilient. The handlers, we must give kudos to them. They have done their best, to keep us afloat. But are we in Eureka? No, we're not. Have we been able to build that social inclusion that is all important, for people to actually now begin to see the effect of the sacrifices that were made at the rail sector? Please note the word, the rail sector, where you probably have the underserved. The answers in the street might also be a little bit of a negative. But are we making progress, in trying to build the synergies we require to build between our fiscal and monetary policies, and then being able to present Nigeria as a global place of investment interest? Yes. But even while doing that, we must also not forget that the situation, the insecurity, insurrections has also not been a very friendly factor in this. So It's a mixed bag. I mean, you don't want to say it's all good. You also be very unfair to say it's all bad. But I think it's kudos and we're making progress.
Okay, and before we talk about the security aspect which you mentioned, I'd like us to look at the new tax laws, which will, take effect in January. It's expected to strengthen revenue from all indication, but there are diverse narratives. So would you say such reform, played its role, or rather will play its role?
Well, tax is important. That's important to place it on the table, because that's how government, makes its revenue. And also remember that some of us 10, 15 years ago had mounted, I think it was one of his programs that came to say, any day we have oil selling under $30, then we're not going to be making any money from oil sales. And it's important to also note that we haven't been getting a lot of revenues from oil. At one time, the oil sector was even reporting zero revenues. Now, when you talk about tax is something that is critical. Like I said, we need to raise money through taxing. But this particular tax, if I get this right, a member of the National Assembly had actually even raised some issues of the authenticity of the one that is going to be or that has been gazetted. Now, but leaving that aside, because that's not the issue here, are the tax reforms necessary? Yes, they are very necessary. But in building your tax reforms, you must also focus on your social inclusion, because it's important that everybody, now puts something into this tax basket. Okay, so you don't now tax those you should be helping, to be able to now pull the many that you want to pull out of poverty. Because remember that the role of government is to be able to build this enabling environment. So we must be very also careful in now pursuing this tax with so much goose and, so much aggression, because these are the time we must also start, considering tax holidays, especially for those, people who are in the productive sector. So yes, I agree. I'm a tax, promoter. People should pay tax, but people shouldn't be bled to death. Those are two different things. If you're earning money and you're paying tax, is a lot different. Although the tax says, okay, you're earning under some amount of money you're not supposed to pay. But if those who are paying will pay and are not able to carry people along, then it also defeats, for me, the aim of the tax reforms.
Dr. Okengu, and one critical aspect people are concerned is the implementation of the law. We'll pick up with the conversation. We have to take a break. Stay tuned. All right, thank you for staying tuned. The year 2025 witnessed renewed successes. I'm talking about the security now, as troops recorded victory after victory over terrorists, decimating their strongholds across the country. Ismail Musa reports.
Throughout the year, the federal government demonstrated commitment to national security. These coordinated efforts maintained pressure on criminal groups, leading to operational successes. This commitment was reflected in the 2025 budget. High points that shaped security architecture in 2025 includes the arrest of top Ansaru terrorist group commander.
The group was first formed in January 2012 with a public declaration in Kano. It emerged as a splinter faction from Boko Haram, positioning itself as a humane alternative. However, its stated aim quickly turned into attacking Nigerian security agencies.
The appointment of new service chiefs and the return of General Christopher Musa as the Minister of Defense.
We do not have time. We are going to continue to hit the ground running. We must respect the human rights of Nigerians.
At the heart of government action was the acknowledgement of a critical gap in manpower. In response, President Bola Tinubu approved annual recruitment of 50,000 police officers and 24,000 soldiers to reduce the deficit and reinforce frontline security nationwide. Another decisive reform was the withdrawal of police officers from VIP protection duties, replacing them with personnel from the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. The objective is to redeploy trained police officers to communities, highways, and crime-prone areas where they are most needed. Similarly, the introduction of forest guards to sanitize the nation's forest, ungoverned space providing hibernating ground for criminals.
The Minister for Interior should liaise with IGP and the civil defense structure to replace those police officers who are on special security duties.
As the year closes, the federal government is to acquire 24 fighter jets to boost the nation's air power. These reforms are a clear shift from reactive response to strategic proactive strategies, focusing on people-centered security. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
All right, Dr. Okengo, I'm sure you follow the trail, talking about reforms in the security sector. For you, would you say there was enough investment going by decisions that played out?
For me, I would have wanted where we would have focused more on technology and intel instead of direct and all-out cohesiveness, being able to use force alone. Because if you look at these areas where you have this insecurity, we don't have any industries there. We don't have much of things that can be able to engage people into something that is meaningful. So maybe it's also possible that we could, use the carrot and stick systems. But what is more important for me is being able to have not just men or boots on the ground, but being able to have technology helping us to monitor. States that have been applied these things have gotten a lot safer. Enugu is a clear example. Rivers State at one time had also applied technology and it helped. I don't see a lot, but security is also something that is not open. I'm sure that government is doing a lot, in that area. I would also want a situation where, yes, a lot of rescues has been done. It would also be nice to see that people are being brought to justice. That these guys who are perpetuating these things, you just don't rescue the people and then you leave them out. I think there should be also some focus on making certain that if you do crime, you do time. That would be my take on it. But to encourage, the government has done well. There's no doubt about it that they're more proactive, in these days than we've ever had before. In Niger State, I understand all the 200 and something girls that were taken from a school, had been returned. Ditto for the people they took from the Zamfara angle. But I haven't seen, like I said to you, a lot of these criminals, call them whatever, being brought to justice. I think a lot of efforts need to also be put into making certain that you also do not encourage more people to enter. So safe corridors have to be built, new economic engagement programs have to be put into place so that you can give people alternatives to crime. Because for me, in some instances, some of these guys do these things to survive, because what else can they do, especially with the loss of Lake Chad, and then, of course, the climate change that seems to be ravaging a lot of these areas where, these things are prevalent.
Okay, Dr. Okengo, I wish we could go on with this conversation, especially the aspect of food security, but unfortunately we have to leave the conversation there, monitor the indices that will play out come 2026. Thank you for coming on Weekend File.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, let's take another break. We'll be back shortly. Thank you for staying tuned. All eyes are now on Morocco as the continent counts down to the opening ceremony of the 2025 African Cup of Nations. In less than 24 hours, Africa's biggest football festival will officially kick off, with 24 teams set to battle for continental glory. Austin Edemodo will guide us.
Morocco is ready. From Casablanca to Rabat, Marrakesh to Agadir, the host nation has put finishing touches to world-class stadiums, training facilities, hotels and transportation networks, setting the stage for a memorable AFCON.
We have built new infrastructure, we have built new stadiums, we have built an infrastructure dedicated only to the national teams, and we have also today more than 1,000 football pitches with excellent turf, last generation turf for the grassroots.
The opening ceremony is expected to reflect Africa's rich culture, heritage and passion for football before the hosts take center stage in the tournament's opening match against Comoros. On the pitch, the battle lines are drawn. 24 teams, Africa's finest, have arrived with one target, the coveted AFCON trophy. Among them are the Super Eagles of Nigeria, three-time African champions who arrive in Morocco full of confidence and determination. Nigeria's squad blends experience with youthful energy, and expectations are high as the Eagles aim to reclaim continental supremacy.
It's another opportunity to correct the wrongs and put smiles on the faces of Nigerians and make the country proud once again.
Everything is in shape. They are not lacking anything.
Defending champions, Côte d'Ivoire, traditional heavyweights like Egypt, Senegal, Cameroon, Hoots, Morocco are all considered strong contenders, while several debutants and emerging teams are also hoping to spring surprises. In Abuja, I'm Austin Edemodo, NTA News.
All right, let's just go straight to join Ayo. Are you ready for tomorrow?
Oh, yes, so many expectations. But for now, let's talk some other sports outside of the Africa Cup of Nations. Nigeria's table tennis star, Aruna Quadri, reclaimed the top spot in the latest rankings released by the International Table Tennis Federation, IWTF, for men. The seven-time African champion occupies the 28th position in the world with 1,065 points, ahead of arch rival and Egyptian star Omar Assar, who is second in Africa with 965 points. Elsewhere in handball, President of the Handball Federation of Nigeria, Saidu Jibril Oji, is in Cairo, Egypt, for the 40th International Handball Federation IHF Congress, where key elections will be held for the IHF and the Commonwealth Handball Association, CHA, as well as the Confederation of African Handball, CAHB. Oji is contesting unopposed for his second term as Secretary General of the CHA. During the CAHB Congress on December 19, he was elected chairman of the CAB Electoral Committee, pledging a credible and transparent electoral process. To the world of football, Nigeria Premier League continues on Sunday with 8 matches as Shooting Stars take on Niger Tornadoes in Ibadan. El Kanemi Warriors welcome Eyimba to Maiduguri, while Abia Warriors entertain Warri Wolves. Elsewhere on Monday, league leaders Rivers United are guests of Katsina United, before Nasarawa United host Kano-based Barrow FC at the Lafia City Stadium on Tuesday. And just a quick one to the world of the English Premier League. Arsenal are currently leading Everton by 1-0 with Victor Gyökeres scoring in the 27th minute. And that's your sports. It's back to Ruth.
Thank you very much, Ayo. All right, let's quickly check the weather for tomorrow.
Come, and thank you for joining us. Here's a look at the expected weather conditions across the country as we head into Sunday. Lots of sunshine is expected across the northern and the north-central parts of the country, although hazy conditions will persist over parts of the north-central region. Meanwhile, the southern parts of the country will experience mostly cloudy skies with spells of sunshine. However, there are chances of isolated thunderstorms over parts of Rivers, Delta, Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River State. And that's the weather outlook for Sunday. Stay weather away, and thank you for joining us. I'm Sefia Seyinusa.
Now you know, and what we also want you to know is that tomorrow is World Meditation Day. It is a day to raise awareness about the benefits of meditation, which can help reduce stress, improve focus, enhance emotional resilience and mental health. Now, the journey of life is always not a bed of roses, you know. Ups and downs, inevitable, but one strength to reflect, re-strategize, to face the challenges that matters. And tomorrow happens to provide that moment for self-discovery, the International Day of Meditation. Observe the day with quiet attention it deserves, and as the theme rightly depicts, inner peace and global harmony. My inner peace. It's Weekend Fire for tonight. Thank you for being part of it. Good night. I'm Ruth Aguele.